All right.
Hi, this is Rex,
This is Cole.
and what do you're saying something about AAA games?
Yeah. I'm saying that like the as I described it, like that AAA gaming kind of removes the soul from a game. I feel like unless you've got a really good director on the project, it just kind of feels like it. The more people you put on a project, the less it feels like it's a personally crafted product, and more of a just
So
like
are you
almost like a software release. It's not even like a really a game.
so are you saying like AAA games are bad?
I mean, I will say that it doesn't make them better. That's for sure. There are AAA games that are good, but I feel like a well-made indie game, uh, or a well-made like maybe double A game, where you've got enough people on a project to realize a greater kind of scope, but not so many that it like starts to dilute the experience. I feel like that's where things are good. I think that's where the best games can get made.
Hmm.
So I'll say that yeah, if you expand to like what AAA is now, it just kind of makes games worse, right? Because then you start getting all the corporate stuff in there too, where like people want to add like microtransactions, DLC. So many games try to turn their games into a service instead of just a game. You know,
So you're saying AAA games are not art? Is that what
I'm
you're
not saying
saying?
they're not art. I'm saying that it just makes them less fun.
Okay.
Like being going AAA, like being AAA is a disadvantage against your game for being fun. It could still be fun, but usually it's not going to produce a good product, in my opinion.
Uh,
It can produce a pretty product. It can produce something that people already expect and will like, but it won't. It doesn't innovate. It doesn't. It'll lead to stagnation. It'll kind of degrade the experience possibly because shareholders say that they want to they want to add these things, so you got to add those things that might not gel with the experience, but nobody cares because there's too many people on it. Yeah, so that sort of thing.
hmm.
I don't know. I guess, but
You're
before,
taking a very lukewarm position on it now. I thought
I mean, to be fair, like
you're saying they're good. You're not. You're just saying they're okay sometimes and they're good
I'm saying
sometimes.
that it
So
just
what's the
it doesn't.
position?
Okay, my real if I'm being like if I want to be more aggressive about it, it's basically like AAA games. I'm mostly not interested in them just because they just feel like I don't know why I always like to compare games to food, but it just kind of feels like white bread. It's just and the thing to me is that a game can be get bad and that actually makes it better, but a game being boring is like the worst a game could be. Like if a game's actively bad, it can be funny, but if a game's just kind of boring and samey and dry, it just it sucks. And I think a lot of AAA games suffer from that. I can't think of a AAA game that I've played in recent memory that I've liked that I've
Uh,
liked more than like
you haven't been playing good AAA games apparently. What's the last AAA game you played?
let's see. Let me look at my um, recents here on Steam. Let's see. Okay, would you count Code Vein as a AAA game?
No, hell no,
Okay, so then that doesn't count.
hell no. That's not AAA.
What about Phantasy Star?
No,
Soul Calibur?
uh, barely, maybe,
Barely. Yeah, I'd
maybe.
say like that. See, that's the thing. I can't think of any that I care about. Like, okay,
See, you
what's a
haven't
AAA
been
game to
playing
you?
AAA games, so I don't think
What's a AAA game to you?
we're looking at right now. FIFA.
FIFA.
It looks
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah, but it's a sports game.
Look, we're not even getting good 1080p recording on this video right now, and
Hmm.
it's freaking looks amazing just right now. Even though we're
Hmm.
not getting like good clarity on the pixels on this on recording,
Hmm.
and only AAA games can achieve something like this right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, but that's the way the game looks. I don't give a crap about how the game looks. Like, if the game's not fun, who cares?
If the
The
game
game could.
looks good, it makes it more fun
No, if the
sometimes.
game looks good, it can improve the immersion maybe.
Yeah,
But other than that,
more immersion, more fun.
no,
Yes,
because if the game feels like trash, if the game controls like trash, I don't care how immersive it looks. It
I'm sure FIFA controls just fine.
Yeah, it's fair, it's fair, it's fair. But I mean, and here's the thing:
And
I don't like sports games. Sports games are almost all AAA,
yeah,
so that's the thing. But let's okay, think what's a AAA game that I would play, right? Like maybe
I don't know. What type of triple game do you play? Apparently none.
what about like I mean, okay, Final Fantasy 7 remake?
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake would be a triple A game for sure.
That would be yeah, like if only for the fact that there's just so much money going into it.
Of course.
Um, I will say I haven't played that. I would say that
I
I'm interested in it.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd love it too, actually.
Yeah, but like I
The
mean,
art is amazing. I mean,
yeah, and I feel like it's got something to work with in terms of like
the art
um
looks better than most. I mean, some of the scenes in Final Fantasy VII Remake look better than Xbox Series X games that are done
mhm.
really well.
And I'll say that there are AAA games that I think have like a kind of soul to it, but I think that Final Fantasy VII Remake has the advantage of having a Final Fantasy game that
Hey, the
existed that
original
already
Final
helps you
Fantasy VII game was a triple A game.
of the time.
Definitely, that was
I would say
definitely triple.
now,
Yeah,
but
that's
AAA then is like
yeah.
indie now.
Uh, so Square's, Square.
There was like a tenth of the people working on Final Fantasy VII original versus Final
Yeah,
Fantasy
less
VII
people,
Remake.
but it was still like it's still a big company, and
It was still a big company, but it was different. That's what I mean. Like, I'm not saying
and
that
had a
AAA.
and for the time had a massive budget. That's how it works. I'm sure
Yeah,
it's
I
gonna
mean,
get even bigger in the future in some of these studios.
I'm
Like
saying
EA
that
is getting huge.
I'm not necessarily saying AAA like period is bad, like as of forever, but
Okay,
like AAA,
just
AAA
very,
like now.
very, just some of these AAA games are bad. You're just saying. It's just
I'm not even
a
saying.
very
I'm
few of
just saying
these.
the
Very
things that
few.
when you grow your team, it just feels like you have less. Like you can craft something that like feels more interesting. You have to make something boring. I feel like when it comes to like now, like you can't take risks because it's too expensive, so you have to go with like the easy success, um, and that just kind of makes games that are AAA now because they're just so expensive bad,
Hmm.
or at least not like really boring. It's very very hard to make something that feels like it has kind of a spirit to it.
I think every it's that's you criticize any business on
Me?
on those type of parameters.
Oh, I mean, you could, and there is something to be said for like maybe sort of when your company gets big, instead of trying to go after one big thing, trying to just use your size to create a bunch of little things. I feel like that is actually a better business, sort of practice, or like I don't know. I feel like that's a better idea, but I don't know. Whatever. That's kind of almost a separate thing. I don't know. I feel like just nobody's allowed to take risks anymore in the AAA space, and it just makes games bad.
Well, that's when you're dealing with billions or like millions and billions of dollars. You
Of
have to.
course.
The people tend to get really careful about this stuff.
Oh, I know. Of course. But I
That's
guess
like
like
with
why?
movies in movie studios. I mean, look at what's being made right now. It's the Marvel stuff. Well, it's not
Mhm,
being made right now because of COVID, but
mhm,
usually, you know,
yeah.
it's
Oh, there's
just
WandaVision and stuff like that. That came out.
that's TV show. But yeah,
I mean, I guess that's not. I mean, but like it's still it's still pretty high budget from what I understand.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to like see if there's a way I can. Oh, actually, I have a way to sort of get your idea on this. It's like What makes you like AAA games over indie games for the most part?
Uh, they look more beautiful.
Okay.
Uh, when done really well, I mean, it's uh, it's very immersive, more immersive.
Hmm.
The stories are amazing. You got amazing music and stuff like that. When it all comes
So
together.
yeah, when it all comes together,
Yeah, like Witcher 3 is a good example of that. Witcher 3,
is Witcher 3 AAA?
I would consider it AAA. No, you don't.
I mean, yeah, I'd say so.
CD
The
Projekt Red is a
developer
pretty big studio.
CG Product Red is a pretty big studio. I feel like Witcher 3 was the game that kind of put them on the map.
Yeah. What
So
else? I could name other games.
I'll say I like CD Projekt though. Like as a develop to be maybe there is they I think that they are willing to take risks a little bit more than most AAA developers.
I'll say EA makes good games sometimes. Dragon Age Inquisition was good. I thought that was really good. Uh, what else was out? Triple A. Oh yeah. The Insomniac game. Ghost of Tsushima. That was. I thought that was amazing.
Mm, okay, yeah, yeah. All
What
right, I'll
else?
give you that. I'll give you that.
Yeah, and let's go back to Final Fantasy Remake. That game is amazing. You gotta.
Oh
I'm
no,
still.
I 100% agree. It's basically Kingdom Hearts with more money and take out the Disney, which is exactly what I want. So I can't say that like all AAA games are bad, or even like you know more than like or I'd say like maybe like 30% are good, maybe But I feel like so much like so much of the AAA sort of gaming scene just doesn't interest me at all. Like I know that like a lot of it is like either like games as a service sort of stuff. Like apparently that Marvel game is a games as a service game. It's like a Destiny sort of thing. But you play as like the characters from Marvel stuff, which doesn't make any sense because then you're like making an MMO with like set characters.
Yeah.
Um, there's like what's another thing that's like Anthem, but Anthem. To be fair, that's a bad example. That went to crap.
Hmm.
I don't know. Did you hear anything about Anthem? Were you following that?
Yeah. That went to crap. It happens, but it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
as
But
bad
yeah,
as people overhyped the badness of some of these games. I mean, they're not. It
that's true.
wasn't that bad. I mean, I didn't like it. The problem with Anthem was that it went so opposite of what the creed of usual Bioware is, which is based on story more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to make it more of an action game,
They're
which
making
the
it
action
a
was amazing. Actually, the action was pretty good. The problem was there was like no story to hold it all together,
mm-hmm.
or reason to do any of these things. It felt like.
From what I saw, it looked like flying was fun, but like it just didn't have it didn't have really good RPGs mechanics to sort of motivate you to continue. And yeah, the story was basically non-existent.
Yeah, the story sucked. So
Hmm.
that's what people go to see Bioware for. Is good story. That's what they were known
Okay.
for. So they went against that, and that's what happened. And that's why Anthem, if you didn't know, Anthem got abandoned in the last couple
Yeah,
weeks.
Anthony. Yeah, it was just a couple weeks ago. It just was. They were like, "Screw it, we can't save this."
Yeah. Well, I knew that what was going to happen. That's what they do to games that don't make money over there, for sure, in
That's
EA.
true.
They should have pulled the cord a lot earlier, I felt like. And
Yeah, that's
got
also
us the
true.
new Mass Effect earlier. Actually,
But
the
they put so
Mass
much money
Effect is
into it.
another AAA game
Mhm.
series that has been pretty good. So, yeah, and Andromeda is not that bad. People say it's bad, but it's not
I was
that.
about to mention Andromeda. I was
But
like, I think you're.
if you
I
took
think.
Andromeda and you took the all the games in the gamut, right? It
Mhm.
would be above average for sure. If it wasn't a Mass Effect,
Okay, if you averaged it all together, I think the
it
original
would
Mass
be
Effect
yeah.
would be considered like a double A game now.
Mm, Mass
Like I
Effect
don't think
3
you could
was
even
pretty big.
three, but I'm saying the first one.
First one, yeah, that was pretty small, but it was still not. Nah, it wasn't that small studio at that time. BioWare had a
Oh
lot
no.
of games under its belt by the time Mass
Yeah,
Effect
like
1 came.
Sonic and the freaking Black
Kotar.
Rings or whatever.
Kotar was huge. That's that's what really put BioWare on the map.
Yeah, and
So
then when they got bought, they made a Sonic game.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I love mentioning that every time we talk about
people
BioWare.
like that Sonic game. I don't know why you bring that up. I don't that
I no, it's
you
bad. What are
complain
you
about
talking
it
about?
or whatever. It's stinky or something,
It's
but people
bad.
love that game. Apparently,
It
I haven't
looks
played
like
it
trash.
myself. I haven't
Oh my
played it
god,
myself, but there's
dude.
a
Okay, maybe I'll buy you that game
you
and I'll
should
send
play
you
it
a
and you tell
DS.
me why it sucks.
No, but you like BioWare. You should be
Yeah.
the one to play it. I want to know
I don't
your
want to play. I
opinion.
don't want to play a Sonic Bioware game. But I've
But you
played.
like BioWare, man.
I've played pretty much every other game
Don't
they've made.
don't you want to know the deep story and conversation trees that can be sort of created through a Sonic RPG? Don't you want to know?
No.
Well, you're crazy. I don't want you anyway. So I guess back on the indie or the soul thing. I guess I will say that maybe it's also that like I like indie games more. I like weird stuff more. I spend a lot of time. I grew up playing a lot of the mainstream stuff. So now that I'm like now that I'm an adult, I'm like, well, I already kind of know what this thing is that that I'm being advertised. So what if I try something different? What if I try something that does something a little bit more risky, weird? Give me something new to experience.
I think. I think. Yeah. I think you're taking a more generalized position on this. I thought you didn't like AAA games, but
I thought that I
it's
didn't
more
like any
like,
game.
oh, some AAA games are bad, some AAA games are good. It's like, okay, that's what most people think.
No, it's not that. I just think that I think that even like, I mean, yes, some AAA games are good, but I still think that like when you go to AAA, like I don't play a lot at all, just because I feel like yes, sure, they might be interesting. And to be fair, like when we were going into this conversation, I had a little bit more of an extreme view until we started talking about like, oh, what about Final Fantasy VII Remake? Oh, what about like, you know, there was another one you mentioned that I was like, yes, that actually looks pretty good. Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Like, when I was going in, I was thinking, oh, okay, well, I don't like Destiny. I don't like FIFA. I don't like Forza. And that was kind of my mentality going in. It's like, oh, well, I don't like this stuff. I think most of it's bad. And I still do think that AAA kind of leads to stagnation because, again, it's still kind of hard to innovate if you're not willing to take risks. Um, but I still will hold that I still think indie games can give you a better time just because they're more out there. They can take crazy amount of risks, and if it doesn't work out, that's fine because you didn't lose that much money on it. Like one of my favorite games. It's not even. I wouldn't even say it's good. It's called a Willful. It's about a little bunny rabbit that's like running around through like multiple different planets and stuff like that. And I wasted about like I'd say a couple hours, maybe like 3 hours on it. And it wasn't even a good game, but I felt like I kind of understood the developer as I was playing it. I felt like it was something that, um, like he had his own personal touch to it. That he was telling the story he wanted to tell, and sort of giving you challenges that were like interesting to him. I guess if that makes any sense. I don't know. I like that feeling. I like that feeling of like that. You kind of feel the developer's passion in the game, and you don't really see that with AAA development because you can't have passion in it. It's just too much.
I'm sure those Japanese developers will say something differently about passion. I'm sure those people are very hyped over there.
I mean, okay, to be fair, like
They take it seriously. I'm sure people at Blizzard take it seriously too. I'm sure some people are
I
underpaid
mean, you can take it
developers.
seriously, but it's just when you get so many people, it's just the passion gets kind of diluted with other people's passion, right? Even if they're all passionate, it's still like they have to compromise, and those compromises lead to a more sort of sanded down product, something that's a little bit more like it's not as out there because there's not as many people like.
There's
Or
plenty
there's
of people who enjoy these AAA games. That's why they keep on getting made. I
Oh,
mean,
I'm not saying they're not bad. I'm not saying that they're bad in liking them. I'm not saying that like less people will like them because of it. But I just think that it feels less like a work of passion and something that's like kind of has a spirit of fun in it. When there's like a bunch of people like having to make compromises on a big project versus like three guys kind of each doing their own thing.
hmm.
You know,
So you're saying AAA games are worse in some? You're not even saying
I'm
that
saying
though.
that I'm saying like I said, the main thing was like the spirit, right? Like it doesn't feel like the game has any. The game just feels like it's it's just trying to be a product rather than kind of like a a fun sort of experience, I guess. It feels like more like being a AAA game kind of produces something that has to be a compromise, something that feels like it's um, it can't do anything that shocks you or goes anywhere that you wouldn't expect. Again, there are things that break this rule. Like I'd say that um, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, it seems like it might just be an alternate universe because the writer for the game is one guy. It's not like a bunch of people, and he's just like, I'm going to write whatever I want. Screw, like the fans. I'm gonna make the thing I want to make. That's interesting. That goes a place you wouldn't expect. But with most
Uh,
AAA games, it's like sanded down to like the most,
there's,
player.
you
Yeah,
know, you could say that about any game, and there's a lack of imagination in the indie space as well as
I'd say
a
yeah,
lack of
but
passion there too. It feels like sometimes, and
there's a lot of indie games that are just copies of other indie games. I will agree with you there.
yeah. And let's look at the smallest games, which is phone games. A lot of that stuff is
Oh,
garbage.
okay, all right. Well,
Let's look
yeah,
at the
I'm not
garbage,
even going to
and
disagree with you there, but I do think that's a different thing.
well,
I don't
those
even,
are
yeah.
the small indie studios these days. Are the phone game studios? Those,
No, I mean,
come on, those are the
no.
indie. Those are the
Do you
probably the
know how much
biggest
money?
group
Do you
of
know how much
indie games.
money the most successful phone games make? They make like millions.
Yeah, I'm sure they make a lot of money.
That's not indie anymore.
Well, the thing is, a
Grand
lot of them
Grand
started
Blue
out.
Fantasy has a convention in Japan with big statues of their characters.
But you gotta realize how many phone games come out every year. Those are the studios that make it and make it huge. There's a bunch of studios that are just they got one game or two games and they're just trying to make a living.
Most phone games are like from a bigger studio, like trying to leverage the phone market.
Yeah, that's happening more and more. But there's still a lot of bunch of studios who are small and they're making phone games.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd still say that like the thing you're saying
Because
about phone games.
that's the way a lot of people get their gaming on. It's through the phone actually. That's the way most gamers game now is through the phone.
Well, I
Unless you
mean, they
don't
don't
call
count
those
because
people as gamers because they
yeah, they're not
play.
gamers. They're stupid. Anyway, so they're not real gamers. They don't care. They don't matter.
I play
for
Brawl
me,
Stars.
for
What?
me though, right?
Uh,
I don't know. Like for me, the PC indie game scene allows for more experimentation,
that's just
and I
with
think that produces better games.
anything with less scale will have more experimentation because there's less
Yeah,
risk.
and experimentation to me is way better than AAA polish. I think that's maybe the crux of what I'm trying to say.
No, because I want a good sports game every year. I want a better one. I want some of these major AAA games like Final Fantasy VII remakes to happen. They should be happening more and more.
I mean, you can enjoy that, but I'm just saying that like I think that's the thing that like you want something that's like the thing that you already played but better. You want the thing but better graphics. You don't want new stuff. You want the same thing that you had before but better.
No, I want. There's usually innovation. The thing is, the innovation is happening in these games, but it's happening slower, but it's happening.
It's incremental. It's extremely slow.
dude.
Meanwhile, yes,
The
I got.
controls for FIFA or in these sports games are very complex. I'm telling you right now. You think you're like a good gamer because you play these like, I don't know, these indie like shoot 'em ups or whatever action RPG. The controls on these sports games are harder than those games. I'm telling you right now because it gets they're so. If you know what you're doing in FIFA or Madden or Live, you get really complex with the controls. I mean, you call plays, you can do all this crazy stuff, and to do that stuff is not. So there's complication within these games that a novice will not know. Well, they'll have like
Does it change every year?
there's usually one new thing every year that
So
they
one
try.
new mechanic.
Yeah, new mechanic every year. There usually is, but not always. But the thing is, there's enough mechanics already that the game is really complex enough already for these sports games. Like to master all the things that you need to master to be really good at these type of games. Like to be like top,
Hmm.
it's immense. Like I don't even know all the things you could do in FIFA. Or Madden. I play Madden once in a while, but there's all these things you could do at the line. You could call audibles. You can do all these crazy controls that you don't, you know, that the novice, the person who comes into the game, who has played platformers, comes into this like a new Mario World, plays an Yoshi Island or whatever. They'll know what to do. But the people who come play FIFA, who play other soccer games, in the beginning they might feel like they know a little bit, but if you go look into it, the controls are immense, and innovation is happening in these type of gameplays.
Yeah, but I
Look at
mean,
look at
just
Dragon
because there's
Age.
mechanical depth, right?
Look
Like,
at
I'm not
Dragon
saying that there
Age.
isn't. I'm not saying there isn't mechanical depth or anything like that. I'm
Look
just
at
saying,
Dragon
like,
Age. Look at
okay,
look at Mass Effect. Every iteration gets better, for sure. Almost except for maybe
wait,
Mass
Mass
Effect
Effect. What
4.
about Andromeda?
Maybe that wasn't. But the combat was more better. The com I put Mass Effect's Andromeda's combat over any of those other Mass Effects.
Okay,
Straight
what
up.
about Fallout 76?
I haven't played it. I don't know.
I mean, that went like to garbage. Like everything about it was garbage,
You could say
from
that
what I
about any
understood.
other game, any other genre. There's garbage games that come out on every like scale. You just
But
say
I mean, I
that
don't know.
game sucks. I'm sure
Okay, I
there's a
mean, yes,
bunch of other games
that's
that
true.
suck.
You're right. You're right. No, that's a bad example because I can't just be like, well, that game sucks. That means everything sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I'm gonna let you have that. I'm gonna let you have that. I'm gonna let you have that. But I'm still gotta say, like, it's not about mechanical depth. It's not even really about the games being good. And I think that's maybe a weird thing that kind of makes us different. For me, I like the feeling of like, just something new and weird and different. Um, like, yeah, sure, those games innovate, they change, but there are so
if
many different
if
ways
you
of.
want innovation, blame the consumers. That's what we like. The consumers dictate how
True,
the type of games that are coming out.
true, true, true.
I was
I will
okay.
agree with you there.
I play okay. The one of the better things about Xbox owning a new Xbox Series X is actually playing old games, and I've been playing a lot of old games lately.
Mm.
Like games that have been overlooked. Sunset Overdrive was a game that was overlooked. That was
Sunset Overdrive is probably, I would say, that's a good AAA if it is a AAA, if you
I don't know if
consider it.
that's I don't think that was AAA at that era, but it was a game that was overlooked, but it was
Mhm.
experimental,
Yeah.
and people didn't. The thing is, people don't buy experimental a lot of times.
No, they don't. They want the new Madden, they want the new FIFA, they want the new thing of the thing they like.
Yeah,
And I guess maybe just the problem between being like somebody who's like a gaming fan versus a fan of games, a fan of certain games, right? I'm not even saying that makes them a gamer or not a gamer, but I'm just saying like I like video games for being video games. So I just like the art of it. But you're like, or I mean, I don't even know if you fall
I
under.
think there's art in FIFA with the people, the drawings, and
Well,
and
I
that's
don't. I
amazing.
mean, like, yeah, there's art in it, but I mean, like the art, like the making of it. Like, I like games as games, and I like thinking about them in that way. I guess. Like, I don't.
I think.
I look at it. I
The
look at
most
each game
important thing
as an
is if you're
individual.
having fun, that's all that
Yeah,
matters.
if you're having fun, who cares? Yes, like I'm
That's
not
all
saying
that
that
matters.
everybody.
And I
I'm not
don't
saying
care if it's
anybody else
considered
has to.
art or not. It's that's
I'm
some
not. That's
pretentious
not what I
bull
mean. Like
crap.
when I say art, I don't mean like art as in like whether or not the video
I
game
think
should
it
be in a
is art.
museum.
Personally, I think it is art, and I think it's pretentious to not think to say otherwise.
Mm.
But
I just think it's like I just think it's the craft. The I like that. I like seeing different ways of people like the different ideas people can have. Like what if we made this game but added this to it? This entirely different mechanic. Like Braid, like it's just a platformer game, but time reversal, right? How could you take that and just take it to its logical extreme? Um, there's like a game now that came out recently. I think it's called. Oh gosh, I can't remember. It's like a game about perspective where you like, hold objects in front of you, and like based on where you hold it, it actually kind of changes size based on what the perspective would be in a two-dimensional picture. So there's there's a lot of interesting things you can do that just won't get made in a AAA game because why would like that's too big of a risk to take to its logical conclusion for a big game that takes a lot of money. Some games don't even deserve to have that taken to its logical conclusion. Like some games have an idea that's great at a small scale, but wouldn't be great in it as a AAA title.
hmm.
And I want that. I want to see like where like the weird like a weird idea of like, hey, this is a thing that I've tried in like another game, like a take one mechanic from like Portal or something, like or take a mechanic from like a big AAA title and go, what if we just took that but like expanded this one little bit of it, or like what if we just took this thing and just experiment, just trying weird stuff. I love that, but some people don't care, and that's fine. But I think that having the passion just to go, let's try this, let's see what happens, is cool.
I'm sure people are experimenting all over in these AAA studios. It doesn't get out to us a lot of it.
Well, I mean, they might experiment, but then like somebody will come in and be like, well, we don't have time to put this in, or we don't. I mean, and like yeah, there's experimentation in AAA. I'm sure there's like new modes that get added to certain things. There's new like little
The thing
extra
is,
bits.
the main complaint about AAA games is not any of that stuff right now. You know that, right? The main complaint about AAA games is monetization right now.
I mean, yes, I will agree with that, but I think that's
Like
kind of
people
a
are
part
not
of the.
complaining anything about FIFA or these sports games at all, or any of these other games that are get bad mouthed. It's the monetization that people have problem with right now. It's not the gameplay or the art or the whatever.
I mean,
People are having
I
fun with
know
these
that.
games. They want to play more FIFA and they don't want to pay more on getting more
To play.
abilities or game cards or whatever. Same thing with Madden, all these other games.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you that like I'd say that again. I think that there's a
The
reason why
the
indie games are indie games. If people wanted more experimentation, AAA games would be like indie games, but they're not.
yeah.
People want the big FIFA. People want the next iteration of the thing they already like. I'm not saying that that's bad. Um, like I like Devil May Cry 5. I think it's no, yeah, 5. Devil May Cry 5.
So
That
AAA
looks.
games. So AAA games are good. Is that what you're saying? Can we just end on that?
Oh no, no, you freaking stabbed me. Oh god.
You're you're
All
like
right.
you're like oh yeah they are kind of good and they are
No,
needed
see,
in the market.
I
They're
keep. You're right. I keep coming back to like AAA games that can be good. And I will say right now.
so
All right, you know
AAA
what? We'll end it.
games
We'll end it on.
are
We'll end
good.
it. I'll end it on
Let's
this. I'll end it on this. I'll end it on this.
AAA games are good.
Like AAA games,
Are
there are
good.
a lot of good AAA games out there, and they're getting better. But I will still hold to the fact that you will only get the crazy experimentation that comes with indie games from from indie games because they're more willing to experiment. They have the
So are AAA
ability
games good or
to.
bad?
If you're willing to experiment with your AAA game, if you're willing to take risks, your game is good. That I would say holds for every kind of game. If you're willing to take risks, to me the game is better because that means that you care about trying to innovate on being fun. You want to give us something new. You don't want to just take the easy route and just do what's already they expect. So I will say that a lot of AAA games
So
have a
triple games are
problem with.
good.
Fuck. Okay, sure. Yes, AAA games
Don't.
can be good.
Okay,
They can be good.
they
Okay.
are good.
All right.
They are good.
Is that what you wanted? Are you
Why
happy now?
is why is you?
I'm
I
upset.
just
I don't
just pick
know.
a position and go with it. That's what I'm saying. Just say
Okay, fine, whatever. Listen, I'm nuanced. I'm a very complicated person.
whatever.
Okay. Anyway, just
Don't
end the
be such a
video.
wuss. Don't be such
End
a
the
wuss.
video. End it now.
All right.
Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on. We don't have any social media, but if we did, follow us on that. Goodbye, everybody. See you later.